When we think of Old Testament heroes of faith, we often picture Joseph, Moses, David, the man after God's own heart. But what if we told you that near the end of his long and celebrated reign, King David made a grave mistake? A mistake so big that some scholars believe it led to the eventual conquest of Judah by the Babylonians. What was this terrible mistake? Let's find out in today's Bible story. Now, before we dive into our story, we want to welcome you to our channel where the Bible comes alive. If this is your first time here, please take a moment to subscribe to get notified whenever we post a new video. And lastly, let's dive right into the exciting narrative found in 2 Samuel, chapters 24. And now our story begins. Imagine the year is around 997 BC, and you are living in ancient Israel. You work hard as an agriculturalist, raising flocks of sheep and goats in the rolling hills. The air is filled with the sound of singing and celebrations as the nation of Israel is booming. But suddenly, everything changes. King David calls for a census of the population. Everyone must be counted. People leave their fields and gather together. They march through city streets. Their leader Joab instructs them to count each person and write down their names. But Joab warns David that this census is a bad idea. Why? Because he knows that the more numerous the army is, the greater the chance that Israel will go to war, and that means bloodshed, loss, and suffering. Plus, why would they need to count everyone anyway? Life back home would be better without this census. Back in Jerusalem, King David continues receiving reports about how well the tribes are doing. He learns that Judah has 38,000 troops, Issachar has 6,000, and Zebulun has 5,000. He also hears about Reuben's bravery and how they protected the weak during their travels. But David doesn't care anymore. He has made up his mind. The census will happen. After a long journey, the census takers return to Jerusalem with the numbers. There are over 8 million Israelites and 2 million Judahites. But David is overwhelmed with guilt. He feels awful for ordering the census. He immediately confesses his sin to the Lord, saying, "I have sinned greatly. I have done a foolish thing." At that moment, the prophet Gad arrives with a message from God. He tells David that because of his actions, God has chosen one of these three punishments for him. Either there will be a famine in the land for 3 years, or Israel will be on the run from their enemies for 3 months, or there will be a deadly sickness in the land for 3 days. David falls to his knees and asks God for mercy. He says, "I am in great distress. Let us fall into the hands of the Lord, for his mercy is great. But do not let me fall into human hands." Then Gad leaves the city. That night, an angel of the Lord goes out to destroy Jerusalem. As he prepares to strike the city, God tells him, "Stop, withdraw your hand." Now, the angel stood down and waited. David gets up and walks around the city wall. He sees the angel standing by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite, and he asks the angel, "What are you doing?" The angel replies, "I was about to destroy Jerusalem at your command, but the Lord said, 'Stop.'" Then David understands that the angel was sent because of the census he ordered. Overwhelmed with grief, he cries out, "I am the one who has sinned. I, the shepherd, have done wrong. These are but sheep. What have they done? Let your hand fall on me and my family." The angel replied, "The Lord has removed judgment against you. You will not die. But since the sword has already been sharpened to cut down many people in Israel, you must let it fall on many. Thus the Lord will cut down your people and your borders, and there will be a great famine and destruction throughout Israel." And David says to the Lord, "Is this what I have done? O Lord, forgive the guilt of your servant, for I have done very foolish things. I was only a man, and my thoughts were evil." But there was no response from the Lord. The angel of the Lord gave Gabriel a sign, and he went up to Onah, the threshing floor. Here David begins to bargain with God, saying, "O Lord, the disaster has come to pass. It was you who I feared. Please spare the remnant of Israel, Judah, and Jerusalem. I am willing to sacrifice this altar and burn up all kinds of grain offerings on it. I will pay a burnt offering of fat from my flock and herds. You have redeemed me from all my iniquities." Hurriedly, David hurried away from the angel, praising God. Then David went to Araunah the Jebusite, and asked to buy the threshing floor for the full price listed in the law. But Araunah said, "Take it, let it be yours. Why should I receive payment from you?" And David answered, "No, I insist on paying you full price. Buy it back from me at whatever price you think it should be sold." So Araunah valued the threshing floor at 600 shekels of gold, and David paid him that amount. Then David built an altar there to the Lord, offered sacrifices, and pleaded for forgiveness. When the morning light touched the altar, God listened to David's prayers. He stopped sending the plague on Israel and removed it from the land that day. But David learned a painful lesson. As we reflect on the story of David and the census, let's think about the consequences of our actions. Even when we do something really good, like helping others, it can cause problems if we're not careful. Like when David wanted to help his people by knowing how many soldiers they had, it ended up causing pain for everyone. And even though David apologized and tried to fix it, things didn't go back to how they were before. David felt sad because he couldn't change what had happened. The census caused pain for him and for everyone else. David, the famous king, did something wrong. He thought he was being smart by counting his soldiers, but he didn't think about the bad things that could happen. He learned a tough lesson about being a leader, and he wanted to make things right. Even though God was angry at first, David kept asking for forgiveness and promised to never do it again. In the end, God forgave him. So what does this story mean for us? Well, sometimes we might feel like doing something bad won't hurt anyone. But even when we think we're being clever, we have to remember that God wants us to do what's right, and if we don't listen to him, he might get angry and punish us. Also, if we're leaders, we need to remember that lots of people depend on us, and we have to make sure we do the right thing. David showed us that even important people like kings can make mistakes and lose God's favor. But the good news is that if we admit our mistakes and promise to do better, God will forgive us. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up to show your support. Also, we encourage you to share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. Your feedback helps us make better videos for you. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any of our Bible stories. Thanks for watching. Until next time, may the peace of the Lord be with you always.